Planet Dolan.
Where can you find a literal underground city? While islands are only accessible to the outside world for 2 months of the year, these are 15 of the most isolated places on Earth. I'm Danger Dolan's mysterious brother, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 15. Motuo County, China. China is a country of over 1.2 billion people, and yet there's still an entire county so secluded it's the only one in the whole country not connected by a road. To reach Motuo County, you must hike through the Himalayan mountains, then cross a rickety old 200-meter suspension bridge. Number 14. Amirkhan Russia. Winter is coming, and with it, people are going to start complaining about how cold it is. But at least you don't live in Amirkhan, where the average winter temperature is negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit. It's considered the coldest inhabited area on Earth, and it's a 2-day drive to the nearest city. In the short summer, the temperature regularly reaches in the 60s and 70s, but most of the inhabitants complain more about the warm weather than the cold. Number 13. Coober, Pedy, Australia. In 1917, a town was founded in the middle of the South Australian outback with the sole purpose of mining the semi-precious gems known as opals. To shield themselves from the 120-degree summers, many of the inhabitants of this mining town decided to simply burrow underground. And 100 years later, around 80% of the population of Coober, Pedy still lives in homes carved into the rock underground. Number 12. Macquarie Island. Positioned roughly between Australia and New Zealand, this is a former Antarctic research station that shut down in March 2017. While the station was active, it was home to between 20 and 40 people total. The island was once well known for seals and penguins, but feral cats, rats and rabbits were introduced on the island as invasive species and quickly overran it. From 2007 to 2012, the Australian and Tasmanian governments worked on a plan to eradicate the invasive species. Number 11. Havasupai, Arizona. For generations, the Havasupai tribe of Native Americans has lived in the Grand Canyon. Not close to it or around it, in it. Havasupai is a small, poverty-stricken town with one school that only teaches English and math. Teachers have to leave the school at the end of the day by helicopter. Number 10. Socotra Island. At one point, the Galapagos Islands were considered a famously remote set of islands full of exotic flora and fauna. But now, the Galapagos are a tourist destination, and everybody knows about the giant tortoise. But Socotra Island, sitting alone in the Indian Ocean, is home to over 800 unique species, and there's a good chance you've never heard of the dragon's blood tree. Number 9. Rinconada, Peru. Denver, Colorado proudly lays its claim to being the mile-high city, but never mind them, La Rinconada is 3 miles high. The highest city in the world isn't exactly a tiny village either. It's a city of over 50,000 people, most of whom work in the nearby gold mine. The corporation that runs the mine has a unique system of payment. People work in the mines for 30 days without getting paid. On day 31, they show up to the mines and can take as much gold for themselves as they can carry. Number 8. Amundsen Scott Scientific Station. The South Pole is such a remote location, it's often compared to outer space. Like space, people can't survive there without some extreme technological help. Secluded as the Amundsen Scott Station is, it actually has a lot of amenities, including a library, fitness center, basketball court, and game room. But despite sitting on top of 10,000 feet of ice, melted water is such a rare commodity, showers are rationed to 2 per week for 2 minutes each. Number 7. Tang, Tibet. Another high elevation location, this plateau in the Himalayas sits as high as 4 miles above sea level. But while thousands of people do live on this plateau, they don't live in cities. The inhabitants, the Changpa, are nomads. Number 6. Barrow, Alaska. If you've ever wanted to experience 65 consecutive days without sunlight, then Barrow, the town on the northernmost point of Alaska, might be for you. On the other hand, if you're not a huge fan of icicles forming on your eyelashes and your breath freezing on your protective goggles, maybe stay away. Apparently, the most exciting thing to do here is watch the polar bears scavenge at the dump anyway. Number 5. Alert, Nunavut, Canada. Barrow is the northernmost inhabited place in the United States. Amirkhan is the coldest inhabited place on Earth. But Alert, on the northern tip of Ellesmere Island, is considered the northernmost inhabited point in the world. Alert sits right next to the northern tip of Greenland, only about 500 miles from the North Pole. There are about 5 permanent residents there. Number 4. Itukatomiut, Greenland. 450 people make their homes in this settlement nestled between the largest national park in the world and the largest fjord in the world. It's only reachable by boat or by helicopter. Tourist amenities include one guest house, a pub open one night a week, a shop, and a post office. And the boats can only get there in July and August when the temperature rises above freezing. Number 3. Kerguelen Islands. This remote French territory has people staffing its research stations, but nobody actually lives there. That's part of why they're also known as the Desolation Islands. While there aren't very many people on the island, it is home to about 4,000 reindeer. Number 2. Pitcairn Island. In the late 1700s, when the mutineers of the HMS Bounty washed ashore and made a home for themselves, it happened on Pitcairn Island. More than 200 years later, the island houses only about 50 permanent residents, and they can't get people to move there, even for free land and money. That's partly because the island has a dark history of child sex abuse, which might also be why the island hasn't had a child born on it in more than 4 years. Number 1. Tristan da Cunha. Do you love that small town feeling and also hate it when the outsiders come to your town? Tristan might be the island for you. It's in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean and about 300 people live there, all of them farmers. The island's nearest neighbours live about 15 miles away in South America, and the island is only actually accessible for 60 days out of the year.
This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys.
Well, that's it for this countdown, but catch you guys next time.